The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Whether you're new to sales or a lifetime veteran, the Blackbelt Sales Podcast will sharpen your sword and guide you to master the art of sales. And now, here's your host, the ninja himself, Gene Slade.
What's up, ninjas? Good to see you today. For some reason, my screen is frozen up on me. I'm screwing around with my settings here because they said I had some clipping in the back with my green screen. So please bear with us. There we go. I think it's all changed. Boom. That's a better. That's a better. That
looks great.
So Don, we were talking before we got on this podcast about the fact that a lot of times we end up going HVAC, right? We do tons of different trades, but it's like what you and I really truly know, right?
Exactly.
It's like the thing that you just always kind of go back to. So we want to stay away from that today, and we want to serve our plumbing audience a little bit better.
Awesome.
And the question that comes to mind, I go all over the country to see these plumbing outfits, and the thing that I find that disturbs me the most is that most of them do not have a water treatment division in their company. Their plumbers are not talking about it. And what is the number one root cause of all supply side plumbing problems?
It's really the stuff in our water, the chlorine specifically, but it's the heavy metals. It's anything that's in the water is just not good for our plumbing systems. So yeah, that's needs to be a conversation and should be its own division. And most plumbers sometimes put those blinders on and just go out there for this problem. The sink is dripping or the toilet's clogged, and don't take those blinders off. Water filtration, chlorine in the water, you have to start with a problem and expand it to the whole system for them. So that's that trick, if I can call it that, is how do you go from one little item up to the whole system, the whole water, and then what's in it, Gene. So that's what my thoughts would be on how to get into water filtration. Very rarely are you going to get water filtration sales calls. People just don't call up. I want a quote on this.
No, of course not. And it's out of sight, out of mind, like a lot of the other trades, right? Guys, if you're watching us live, will you please put live down in the comments? And if you're watching us on a replay, please just put replay down in the comments. And heck, feel free to let us know where you're checking in from, what city and state as well. So let's talk about, I follow a guy named Russell Brunson. I dare to say he's a mentor of mine. And Russell always talks about you need kind of like a villain. You need somebody or something to throw rocks at, he says, or to pick on. And we're always talking about sell the problem, right? Not sell the product. Once a client feels like or comes to their own conclusion that there's a problem, they're more willing to try to solve that problem. And they don't care what the solution is, as long as they know on the other side of that solution, they're going to be worry-free. You like those words too, don't you? Worry-free.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk about the two major things that we would throw rocks at. So number one would be chlorine, and then the other one would be chloramines. What's the difference, Don?
Well, we all just call it chlorine, but obviously we know that. We see it in pools. But chloramines are when we put ammonia and chlorine together, and that becomes a chloramine. And why would we use chloramines over just chlorine, Gene? Why do municipalities do that?
I don't know, but if I were to guess, I would say that they don't get evaporation on chloramines like they get on chlorine, so maybe it's cheaper.
That's really what I was going with. It's they use the cheapest alternative. If you use chlorine, you got to keep adding it and keep adding it and keep adding it. So the chloramines kind of stay in the solution while all that water's sitting up in that water tower. It stays in solution a lot more. So that's a big part of it. We all make decisions in this world based on cost effective or money. That happens a good bit.
Unfortunately.
Yes. Our water systems are the same way. Our municipalities are doing the same thing.
So when I've got a plumber and he's out at a call, and let's just say it's a toilet flapper, right, that is allowing water to bypass it, and it's causing the fill valve to come on, in the night. It's keeping them up, or it's just wasting water. Question for my plumbers out there, put it down in the comments. What is happening to that rubber flapper? What's happening to it? Starts with a D. I want to see if anybody can actually get the right answer. I don't want to wait too long, though. So at the end of the day, here's what's happening. That rubber flapper is dissolving, all right? And it's because of the chemicals that are in the water, specifically the chlorines and chloramines. Now, question, why do they put those in the water? Why do they put them in the water, Don?
To kill the chloramines, the chlorine is to kill the bad stuff, the bacteria that can be in our water sources. We draw water from local lakes and water sources, streams, whatever. So water going into our system comes from outside water, and that's usually the cleanest. The worst water comes from the water treatment plant, which was our sewage water that went back to them. So there's a lot of bacteria that can be in our bad stuff in our water.
And they're harmful bacteria, guys. You're supposed to have good bacteria in your system, and your good bacteria eat those bad bacteria, right? But we've got to put chlorine, chloramines, things like that in the water to kill that stuff on the way to your house. But once it gets to your house, you've got to take it out. There's been a lot of studies in the last 15 months that are proving how horrible tap water is for you. You should never drink tap water again if you can help it. All right. So let's talk about some of these things. Were you aware that when you drink tap water with chlorine and chloramines, that it actually kills the good bacteria inside of your gut and inside of your body? And did you know that your gut is responsible for your health? You need those trillions of good bacteria down there, this beautiful ecosystem for you to be healthy. And did you know that when you drink tap water, that chlorine goes down there and kills the good bacteria, not just the bad stuff, right? So now you're talking about getting yourself into a position where your immune system is seriously compromised. And did you know that people that drink chlorinated water are 90% more likely to get cancer than people that don't? Do you think the killing of the immune system has got something to do with people getting cancer? All right. Now, also, when we're showering in this stuff, is there anything else we should say about the gut? I mean, you kill these good bacteria. You think you might be able to eat some yogurt or something like that, some probiotics, but the truth is those don't work without prebiotics, and it takes a while to build that biome back up.
Exactly.
What else?
Were you aware that it attacks the soft tissue, the lining of your stomach and your intestines, as well as your organs? It attacks that. Do you know that chlorine and chloramines cause oxidative stress, meaning that chlorine is now in your bloodstream and it goes around grabbing the oxygen? I mean, that's the whole living process. As we pull oxygen into the body, it gets in our bloodstream, and then we're doing the wrong thing by putting the chlorine in there to take it back out. Oxygen is good for your health, and that's really where it causes that oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is the precursor or some of the pre-words to cancer. So that's where all of that kind of comes from, is oxidative stress. Stealing the oxygen from the blood is what's the big part of that. So yes, I agree. It's not good for you.
The absence of oxygen is part of what causes disease, y'all. Okay? You need lots of oxygen in your blood. We should all actually be doing breathing exercises every day where we fill our diaphragm full of oxygen. But that's a conversation for a later show, right? Two
Sure.
other things. What are the two other things that we will put in our mouth, Don, that will kill that good bacteria down in our stomach?
I don't know. What are we talking about here?
Well, there's an over-the-counter drug that people take for headaches and inflammation all the time that is like throwing a hand grenade in your good bacteria.
Yeah.
Starts with an
Lots of, I don't know. Go ahead.
Advil.
Advil. Okay.
Advil or ibuprofen will
Okay.
absolutely destroy your gut biome. And anybody ever taken antibiotics out there? Did you know that that does the same thing? This is why our kids, when they get sick, and people might think I'm crazy for this, our kid can get a fever. We don't take them to the doctor. We know that their body and their immune system needs to be built up. Now, look, if they get up to 104 or something like that, and I can't keep their temperature under control, for sure, we're going. But the bottom line is that we don't need to throw those nasty things to kill the good bacteria in our kids when their immune system will take care of it, right? You don't need antibiotics every time you think you need antibiotics. And it really is doing more harm a lot of times than good. I'm not saying you shouldn't do it for life-saving, situations, but you get a little tummy ache, you start to feel a little bit unwell, and you go straight to the doctor. Not a good thing. They're practicing medicine, y'all. Keyword practicing.
Well, you would, it is funny how they call it a practice because they're not necessarily perfected it yet. But that's a different kind of joke. But I agree that doctors, they'll ask what antibiotics you've been on. They're doing their best not to just keep you on antibiotics a long, long time, because after you kill whatever the bad stuff was, you also have to they killed the good stuff, and now you have to rebuild all that stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the things about chlorine that most people know is it dries out your skin. And we see, you hear the ladies talk about that. You go into people's houses and you see hand lotion on the counter, right? Sitting everywhere in the house a lot of times. And that's a sign that there's a lot of chlorine, because our skin is the largest organ of our body. And are you aware that whatever we put on our skin gets absorbed into our bodies in 15 or 20 seconds? How many times you just wipe that on there and then look back and it's gone, right? It was
Typically in the
cream white
bloodstream
color,
within 20 seconds, man.
and it's into your body. So that hot shower with the chlorine steaming, it's steaming and that chlorine's going in your nose, burning your sinuses, but it's getting absorbed into your skin. All of that chlorine's getting absorbed into your skin. And 15-minute hot shower is the equivalent of drinking a gallon of chlorine water. Ask your clients that. Were you aware that just a 15-minute hot shower is the equivalent of drinking a gallon of chlorine water? You think that's good?
I had to have this conversation with Brittany yesterday, because she was like, I asked her, I said, hey, when you know how taking a 15-minute hot shower is the equivalent of drinking a gallon of chlorinated water? She's like, yeah. I was like, how do you suppose that ends up happening? And she was like, well, I'm assuming we absorb it. Well, a gallon of water weighs what, around 8 pounds? 8.3 pounds, something like that.
Exactly.
Do you gain 8 pounds when you take a shower? No, you don't. But it's the steam that Don was talking about that atomizes, and then we inhale that. The amount of chlorine you inhale is equivalent to what you would drink in a gallon of water. Plus the absorption that's happening, right?
Right.
So just wanted to clear that up for people. It also burns the linings of your sinuses and your lungs, so you can't smell things that you could smell before. You can't breathe as well as you could breathe before. It's leading to asthma and breathing problems. Just not good, guys. Just not good.
I'm at that age where I'm kind of critical about the hair color. A lot more gray in my life now. But how many ladies go out and get their hair dyed regularly, every 6 weeks, every 8 weeks? A lot of that is because of all the chlorine that they're washing their hair, they're taking the showers with, and you can improve or not have to improve your hair color, improve your skin color, but your hair color specifically, by just not taking in as much chlorine through that shower, right? We stand there and want to run that shower straight on the top of our head most of the time, or the back, right? So it feels good. So getting that chlorine out is great for the skin, but it's great for the hair. Kind of reduces that dry hair, split ends, and the hair's more manageable. So ladies love to have that chlorine out of their water for that specific reason. I would agree. Most of the plumbers probably just want it out of there for the plumbing reasons. Were you aware that, the chlorine destroys the little plastic and rubber parts in our plumbing system, in our appliances, in our dishwasher, in our washing machine, even your ice maker, the flappers in the toilet, all of those deteriorate because of the chlorine. And that's your in, if you're a plumber and you take a look at it, that's your in to get the water filtration conversation started. And it's not a water filtration conversation. Let me correct that. It's the problem with chlorine conversation. Water filtration just happens to be the solution that's going to come once there's a problem. So let's make sure we're actually talking about the problem of what's in our water, not water filtration systems. We don't actually sell water filtration systems. We sell solutions to all the problems of the chlorine in our water. Water filtration systems just happen to be that solution. So be careful talking about water filtration system. It should be like 15 to 20 seconds of the whole presentation is your water filtration words. It's not about that.
Now, I know a lot of the plumbers out there right now are going, yeah, but how do I start the conversation about this with a client? So you might have to rewind the tape and write this down, like rewind it a few times. So I'm going to give you a couple tips about at least how to open the conversation. This is stuff that people pay thousands and thousands of dollars for, believe it or not, but it makes a massive difference.
At your mansion events, people come out and pay thousands just for this. So listen up. You're about to get a $5,000 nugget.
This is very, very, very effective. Okay. When you get to a house that's got any sort of plumbing problem, first and foremost, go looking around for their water filtration system. Okay. Most people are not going to have one. When you find out what the problem is with their system, you can bring the problem to them. For instance, look, so I figured out why your toilet keeps turning on and off. As it turns out, it's this little rubber flapper here, and water's getting by it. Do you know why that happens? So you weren't aware that it's because there's chlorine that's in the water that will dissolve this rubber flapper. And if it will dissolve this rubber flapper, what do you suppose it will do when our skin absorbs it? I couldn't find your water filtration system. Why don't you have a water filtration system? And now we're going to get into giving them more information, but we're just going to say things like, did you know and were you aware? That's it. Okay. I just want you to add, did you know or were you aware to any of the information that you give your clients, just like we did with you earlier on. You want to rewind the tape a little bit further to hear the questions that we were asking, because the questions we were asking you are the same questions that you want to ask your client. All right. So I'm not going to repeat it and make this podcast longer. Just go back and listen to the questions that we asked you to get you concerned, potentially even about your own home and not having a water filtration system. Right. And then when the client starts to look concerned or says to you, what do we do about this? Right. Keep it simple. KISS method. Right. Keep it simple, silly. Right. Or make this one PG. I guess stupid's pretty PG. So just say our clients have us install a water filtration system. Afterwards, they don't have to deal with these problems and their whole plumbing system lasts longer. That's all I want you to.
Their skin's better. Their hair's more manageable.
But you're taking it to our level, right? You're taking it to the level of a ninja, right? Okay. Of one of our certified lead ninjas. I want to keep it simple for you guys. You won't have as much success as we will have with our word tracks and language patterns, but you'll start to see some successes. Probably enough successes within the next 30 days to make it out to one of our live events so that we can show you how to add $50,000 or $100,000 a year to your income like that. And I'm talking about overnight. Okay.
Yes.
A perfect example was Luke Claymore this morning. Claypool. So Luke has been in this industry for several years now, and up until about a month ago, he had been making around $50,000 a year in his career. All right. Luke has made $18,000 in the last 2 weeks.
Wow.
2 weeks. He has made as much in 2 weeks as he used to make in 4 months. Okay. Not by ripping anybody off, not by lying, cheating, or stealing, but by being ethical, honest, and doing things legally. Okay.
Yes.
He paid $5,000. He split a king suite to come out with one of his friends to our mansion event, which, by the way, Dustin is crushing it as well. But this guy went, he's tracking at $4.5 million in sales.
And he had never sold before.
30 days, less than 30 days outside of the event. Okay. So guys, he will make 300, if he keeps that pace, he'll make $360,000 over the next 12 months when he was making 50K his entire career until a month ago. I mean, if that doesn't show you that what we're talking about here works, I don't know what does. Okay. Proven system. I'll show you how to make $4 or $5 million in revenue a year. Easy. Okay. It won't be easy to gain the knowledge. It'll take a little bit of time, but I mean, is 30 days, if you put your nose to the grindstone, too much time to change your life forever? Like to learn how to ride a new type of vehicle? Like, you remember when you learned how to ride a bike? Did you ever forget? So talk about life transforming. So Don, when are the next 2 classes in December?
Yeah, we've got the technician class, plumbers, HVAC, solar, roofers, all trades. That's December 1st through the 5th. It's running across, it's down in Orlando. You fly into Orlando MCO, take a Uber out to us, so you don't even need a rental car, and you're there. And we go through the sales process, the word tracks, meaning the exact words we say, the tonality. We work on how to make it sound like you, make it sound really good. We role play it, and when you go back to work the next day, you're out utilizing this stuff. You don't have to go home and then spend another month trying to figure out how to implement it. We show you the implementing. We've got the implementation track put together for you. And then after that class,
whole day of implementation, guys.
Yeah. And sometimes all night. Sometimes it runs very late, still just talking this up and getting this to be useful. That's my goal is when they leave.
Class. And not because we're in class, it's because you guys are coming up to us as coaches in the evenings and asking us more questions, and that's why it ends up going longer. Go ahead.
Yeah. And then we're having a comfort advisor or a high ticket sales guy, the water filtration, the roofers, obviously the HVAC system sales guys, comfort advisors. That class is how to kind of manage higher tickets, the little harder objections that you get. And that one is the 6th through the 9th. So basically at the same place, we kind of clean it out, redo all the beds, do all the stuff, restock it, and then we do the high ticket class right after.
If you're selling stuff that's 20K or more, that's the class that you probably want to come to if you've already been to one of the technician classes. And Don, can I clarify for them that the 1st and the 5th, it's the 1st through the 5th, the 1st and the 5th are your travel days. Okay. The class is actually 3 days long. All right. But you get to check in the night before and leave the morning after if you like. All right. And then the same thing with the high ticket sales class from the 6th through the 8th, the 6th through the 9th. The 6th and the 9th are your travel days. Okay. It's the 7th and 8th that we're actually doing the training. Okay.
Yeah, and again, it's pretty intense. It's not just a couple hours and goof. We put a lot of information and a lot of real work into that. How to say it, how to practice it, how to handle. I want to think about it, how to handle the put off. And we mentioned that starting into this. Maybe people are going to start hearing, I want to wait till next year. I want to wait. Whatever that excuse. It's either next year, after my tax return, after vacation, after the kids get back to school, and then we rotate back around to after the end of the year again. So all year long, there's about 5 or 6 little put offs that people will throw at you, and you want to be able to handle that, and you really want to kind of nail down that it's not so much that you don't feel these things need to be done. It's the money, isn't it? That's what you got to nail down, that they're putting it off not because they don't want the work done. They're putting it off because they just don't want to have a money conversation.
Yep.
That changes things. They're not putting off the work, they're putting off the money. Once you get the money conversations going, they've already bought in their mind. It's just, how do they pay?
Guys, can you see now, like with Luke was making $50K a year, and within 30 days, the last 2 weeks, he's made $18,000, and he was making a lot more money right after the trading as well. But can you see now why I say that Luke was paying for this training and not even getting it before he met us? Like, it was costing Luke, what's $360,000 that he's running at his track for income now? What's $360,000 minus $50,000 a year? $310,000. It was costing Luke $310,000 not to have this training annually. Over the next 10 years, what do you think that's going to be? Can you see how Luke's making now? He's going to be making millions more. It's going to completely change the trajectory of his life. His life will never be the same. He is now unrecognizable to some people because of the transformation he's had in such a small amount of time. It doesn't take a long time, guys. It doesn't take a long time. So if you've been holding yourself back because you're afraid that this is an expense, it's not. It's not an expense. What's expensive is not having this information. And you can try to reinvent the wheel. Okay, you can try to come up with your own system, but why would you do that when you can just come take mine? I'm willing to give it to you. And it's cheap.
Yes.
For what we do, we are the cheapest in town. Nobody gets guys to go from 50 to 60K a year to 360K a year in less than 30 days, other than the Lead Ninja system and the Lead Ninja team.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to say it, Don, we are the best at what we do. There is no one better. You're wasting your money if you're going a different direction, unless you just don't like me, which is fine. But I can still learn from people I don't like, Don. I could give a rip whether or not I like somebody. As long as there's something to learn, I'm willing to listen and put my ego aside. So,
well, I'll tell you, most people who don't like me or don't like you just probably have never had a conversation with us, or have never actually, it's somebody who told them something bad and they believed it, or they didn't judge it for themselves. Because, once you just have a short conversation, we're not showing you a sales system that will pressure people into buying more. What we're teaching you how to do is how to present it so that the clients just have the option to choose more. It's wonderful. And our system, your system, is much more low pressure than people out there accuse us of. It's very low pressure.
Seriously,
high service. I got that word, but it's low pressure.
It is direct. I will say that, but it is not high pressure sales. It is low pressure sales, and it is pull selling rather than push selling. So guys, if you want more information about the live events that are coming up, hit us in the comments, just say Mansion, or even better, I'm going to put my phone number up here. Just give me a text, 239-848-6533. I get several of these a day. I do stop to take the time, and this is my cell phone number, so I am the one answering. It's not an AI or something like that. But shoot me a message. Give me your name, please, when you shoot me the message. I get these messages all the time. Hey, I need help with sales. I'm like, who am I talking to? Right? So please include your name. But if you can't see the screen and you're on Spotify or Apple, it's 239-848-6533. One more time, 239-848-6533. I've got your back. I will help you. I will take care of you. And let's get you guys making more money. Men, is it embarrassing that you're not making enough money to do the things that you want to do for your family? Does it, for those of you who've been able to, let's say, retire your wives, make enough money so that they don't have to work if they don't want to, how did that make you feel as a man? How would that make you feel as a man to be able to give her that option? How would it feel to be able to get your kids the things that they need, or be able to spend more time with them doing fun things? This is your access to that life.
Yes.
All you have to do is pick up the telephone and make that first text and have those conversations. And you'll find also that we don't push anybody into anything over here either. So, Don, I appreciate you sharing this time with me today. We got to get rolling because we got other stuff to do today.
Yes, thank you for the time. If when you get good, information out of this, just go leave us a review. Go hit the button on
Please.
Spotify, Apple, whatever, and tell the world or share this. That helps us out. If we give you something that helps you, we would love if you would help us out. And that is just share this. Put a comment. Put, wow, I heard something and I went out and used it and made money. Anything like that. Let other people know. I mean, we're maybe not as bad as the world and some people in the world want to make us out to be. So if you're having good success or utilize this, please help us out. Thank you.
You took the sharing words right out of my mouth, man. I appreciate that. Love you, ninjas. We will be talking with you soon. Have a great day. Go slay some dragons.
Bye, guys. Good luck.